Hi, I'm Cathy Bertilli from theintimacydojo.com.
I'm Reid and Cathy from readaboutsex.com.
And Reid has this amazing safer sex elevator speech that he gives. He even has this really cool door hanger. It says, "Do not disturb" on one side. And it gives the steps to the safer elevator speech on the other. And I've had this with a number of people, usually on the third date. Whether I wasn't sure a lot of times if I was going to be intimate with them or not. But it created great conversation and it opened up the connection in really beautiful ways.
Yeah. The main thing, and I'm a big proponent of the safer sex conversation, understand that the reason most people aren't having it is no one ever taught them how to have one.
Yeah.
And they don't want to screw it up and then botch up the opportunity and then you'll never sleep with me again. So we end up waiting for the other person to initiate the conversation. Where in fact, if you have some kind of script or formula that works for you, you initiating ends up usually creating a lot of relief for the other person, even if you put them on the spot. Because you're now role modeling, it's okay to talk about this stuff. Yeah. And in you having your conversation, you're role modeling again, here's how I have my conversation. How about you?
Yeah. You learn a lot, like you say, you learn a lot about someone, how they respond when you say, "How about you?" or when you share this. And it makes the relationship more comfortable. I have a lot of friends. I have a friend that shared that she was pretty certain that her partner would have shared with her if she had an STD. But that was in the back of her mind all the time. That maybe she hadn't, maybe she should have had that conversation. Yeah. And then after a while, it seemed like it was too long. They'd been in it too long to ever talk about it.
It's the classic example, and this is the joke. When somebody walks into an elevator and they have toilet paper on their shoe or hanging out of the back of their pants, and you don't say anything immediately, by like the third or fourth floor, you're now a complete a-hole for not bringing it up, and now you cannot talk. Have the conversations sooner than later, and when you are wondering, when do we have the safer sex conversation? That's your cue to initiate it then.
You can even say, "I'm gonna," it doesn't mean that I'm ready to sleep with you, but I'd like to have this conversation. This really cool guy, Reid, or this really crazy guy, depending on how you feel about it, has this special door hanger, and it has some questions on it.
And just pull that out of your purse or out of your briefcase, and then say, "Do this now!"
So
Can you give us an example, Kyle?
Yes. So he suggests in 3 minutes or less, share when you were last tested and your status. And I was tested 2 weeks ago, and I was clear on everything. Any relationship agreements that you have currently. I'm not in a relationship, and I have no agreements with anyone about that. My safer sex needs and protocols. I use condoms for penetration. I need to know my partner's sexual status and how many people are sleeping with.
Got it.
And dental dams if people feel comfortable with that.
Okay.
Any risky sexual encounters since you were last tested.
Which is basically like, since the last time I was tested, we had a condom break or whatever you need to share. This may affect your status.
Yes, and I haven't had anything like that.
Okay.
Something you like sexually. I like really gentle touch, and I love making out. And something you dislike sexually. I don't like my hair pulled really hard.
Okay.
Unless I'm really turned on. And end with, how about you?
So in basically 7 steps, which might feel weird at first because you haven't practiced it. And it's basically 6 steps, and then the last step is you ask them, "And how about you?" Which is then giving them permission to share with you what their situation is. You're initiating a safer sex conversation. I'm a huge proponent of this kind of conversation, whatever you end up having your steps be for this. In having it and asking the other person, "How about you?" What they tell you in the next couple of minutes gives you a whole bunch of information for you to be able to figure out what your needs are for you guys to have any kind of play at all.
Yeah. And if they may be embarrassed, like this may be out of their comfort zone, that doesn't mean there's anything wrong. But a lot of times our conversations after this, like we kind of started expanding on what we liked and didn't like. We had amazing conversations. like just really fun, intimate, open conversations.
And during these infamous
third
safer
dates.
sex third dates, did you ever have anybody like storm out of the date?
I never have. Everybody's been either shy and awkward, or incredibly interested, or kind of embarrassed because they hadn't been tested.
Mm-hmm.
Which isn't. There's nothing wrong with that.
Mm-hmm.
I just want to know what the status is, and I do for myself personally. I want someone to be tested before I sleep with them. It makes me feel safe and comfortable.
Cool.
So, thank you. We'd love to know what you think. And have you had your safer sex elevator speech talk today?